Today's a WRAL weather alert day. Lots of heavy rain across the viewing area now with a second wave later this afternoon. I'll walk you through what to expect.
All right, we got monitoring some crashes right now, and we also have the WRAL storm tracker out of the roads this morning, letting you know what you can expect as you get ready to head out the door.
Also, Ken, a man was hit on the belt line this morning. There are some major backups coming out of that. We'll tell you what we know about this incident.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on WRAL News on Fox 50. I am Chris Levingood. Folks, if there are ever a day to pay attention to your forecast and your traffic report, today is the day. Let's start with Elizabeth Gardner right now on this WRAL weather alert day. We have that severe risk for flooding.
We do, and this is going to be a day where things change rapidly. So we have a band of rain now that's settled from just east of Pittsburgh all the way up through Wake Forest. This is where we have a flood advisory. That means that flooding isn't necessarily happening, but it could because of the heavy rain that we're seeing here. We had a flash flood warning, meaning there was a good chance for flash flooding in Chapel Hill and Durham. That has expired, fortunately, without any definite reports of flooding. So that's good news. But we have more rain on the way. This rain will stick around probably for the next couple of hours, and then a second band will develop and roll through later this afternoon. And that will add to some of the rain totals, obviously, that we've seen so far this morning. And we've seen an inch to potentially up to 3 inches in some places. So here comes that next band. This is around lunchtime. This is going to be 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and right around the evening commute as that heavy band comes through. So that's going to be concerning, especially in places that have already seen some heavy rain to start with. So we do have a flood watch that's in effect for the entire viewing area, and that continues through the end of the day today. Of course, it's a WRAL weather alert day, and it's a medium risk for flooding. Temperatures are not bad. We're looking at upper 60s right now. We'll end up with mid 70s this afternoon. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, with all the wet weather, we have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Let's check in with Kelsey Coffey, photographer Mark Alexic, as they show you exactly what's going on. You've been all over the triangle this morning. Where are you now, and what are you seeing?
Hey, Ken, right now we're on 40 West in Cary. We'll give you a live look now at these wet road conditions. This is what our view has looked like in the storm tracker since about 4:30 this morning. Just rain, rain, rain. Now, our meteorologist team says that parts of Raleigh, Morrisville, Cary, and Apex have all seen 1 to 2 inches of rain so far, and we could have 1 to 2 more inches headed our way throughout the day. So just be careful as you're out there on your morning drive. Be sure to be on the lookout for any low-lying areas because this weather can be potentially dangerous to drive in. We've heard of a lot of crashes here throughout the morning, so we're working to find out whether those are weather-related. But, Ken, what can you tell folks before they head out the door today?
Oh, I can tell you, leave the house a little sooner than usual because of all the mess that we're seeing. I isolated the interchange there on US 1 and I-40 there in Cary because there was a crash near the exit ramp to US 1, but it has since cleared. But you can still see the huge delays it's still causing in that particular area. The other troubled spot this morning, this right here on I-40 eastbound near Davis Drive. There's a semi, the jackknife on the side of the road. You can see the huge backups that it's causing there on I-40 eastbound. We're working to figure out exactly what's going on with the drive of that vehicle. But look at this. You're coming in from Chapel Hill. You're looking at almost an hour, 50 minutes. So really want to avoid Highway I-40 eastbound this morning, especially if you're coming in from Durham. You might want to just go to Highway 70 as an alternate route just to avoid what's happening there in that particular area. As for the capital city, things are definitely getting better on I-87. You're just looking at a 5-minute delay. For friends in Wake Forest, you're looking at an 11-minute delay coming in on Wake Forest on US 1 and Capitol Boulevard. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
And if you have us on while you're driving, Ken will update you as you go. And just a reminder, you can stay on top of the forecast with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It's free to download and use, but make sure you turn on the push notifications, and that way you can get important weather alerts sent right to your phone.
And Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. We've had so many incidents on our roads this morning. I want to take you back to one of the very first ones that came in because a man was hit on the belt line, I-440 eastbound. I'm going to take you back to some earlier, the latest video that we have right here. This shows the investigation that continues right there after this man seriously hurt and considered life-threatening injuries right here. And this is a freeway speed. He got hit on I-440 right by the Wake Forest exit in the eastbound lanes. The traffic is major backed up right now. It is moving through there slowly, but the investigation is continuing right there. So that's where we're stuck as that continues to try to figure out what happened, why that man was on the belt line, if this is in any way weather related. But we'll continue to monitor it here in the Live Center.
I want to know if the weather did have a factor there. Thank you, Jeff. Breaking news that we're following. A Person County ambulance was involved in a crash this morning in Durham, and the WRAL breaking news tracker was at that scene. That's on Horton and Duke Streets you're seeing right here. Durham police say the ambulance was driving down Duke Street with its lights on when another car went through a green light in front of it. And so we're working to learn if there were any injuries in this. A tractor trailer crashed on I-40 East this morning, and our team was there recording the aftermath near Davis Drive. And we're trying to figure out if anyone was hurt in this and if the rain may have played a role. Power is back on for hundreds of homes in Durham after an outage this morning. And what you're seeing here is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. This is on Roxborough Street. Teams trying to get the power restored. Duke Energy reported an outage for more than 600 customers around 3 o'clock this morning. And the outage map for the company listed the cause as fallen tree limbs. But the power was restored just after 5 a.m. The woman police say owns the boat that crashed at Harris Lake, killing a 10-year-old girl, is expected to be in court this afternoon. Brooklyn Carroll was hit and killed on the lake over the weekend, and she was a 5th grader at Westlake Elementary in Apex. Jennifer Staley, a social worker at the school, was also badly hurt in the crash. Investigators say Anne Marie Flanagan is the boat's owner, but her boyfriend, Quentin Kite, was driving at the time. Both were charged in this. Investigators say they recovered nearly 40 beer cans from the boat, and Kite has a history of DWI in New Mexico and a pending charge in Moore County. Meanwhile, Brooklyn Carroll's family, they sent a statement saying, quote, "Our lives were shattered when our daughter Brooklyn died. For the 10 years that she was alive, B filled our lives with joy and laughter." The Carroll family is asking for privacy as they grieve right now. A Durham mother whose 4-year-old died in an accidental shooting will be in court today, and she's facing an involuntary manslaughter charge. The shooting happened back in June. Police say Kamari Patterson died after he found an unsecured gun and accidentally shot himself. Tiara MacArthur was charged after turning herself into police, and in an interview only on WRAL, she says she is taking responsibility. She says she doesn't want any other parent to go through what she is right now.
I will never be okay. I will never get to see my son again. I'll never get to hear my son tell me he loved me. I'll never get a kiss from my son. My daughter will never see her brother again. She talks about him all the time.
MacArthur says after her son's death, she will never own another gun, and she is encouraging other parents to get rid of theirs. Raleigh police are looking for the person responsible for an armed robbery at a Publix. That happened yesterday on Peace Street near Capitol Boulevard, but police say no one was hurt. A North Carolina police officer shot and killed a man who was suspected of trespassing. Greensboro police say that someone flagged down an officer to report the possible trespasser. Well, the officer found and questioned the man, but police say he refused to comply with commands. Police claim the man grabbed a weapon and moved toward the officer with it, and that's when the officer shot the man, killing him. The officer is now on administrative leave, and that's pretty typical when an officer shoots and kills someone for them to step away from the job while that's being investigated. Today, we will learn more about how state education leaders will address a 27-page wish list from Superintendent of Schools Mo Green. The North Carolina Board of Education spent months discussing this. The plans include increasing community engagement for schools and students, helping schools make career development plans, and expanding teacher recruiting and training. WRAL Education Insider Emily Walkenhorst says both Green and the board understand how massive this proposal is.
Green says it's ambitious. One board member joked at the time, "I hope I'm still alive to see all this happen." Green has worked with the State Board of Education to revise the strategic plan, and that's what he'll present today.
And so the board is expected to take up a vote on that proposal as early as tomorrow. Today, UNC head football coach Bill Belichick will address the media, and he will be joining the team's offensive, defensive, and special teams coordinators. The Tar Heels season opener is less than a month away, and they'll host TCU on Labor Day. WRAL will be in Chapel Hill today to hear from the coach, and we will have more on what he has to say in our evening newscast starting at 4 p.m. Your time is 8:09. Sick from raw milk. A tainted batch sent people to the hospital in Florida. The information health leaders are giving about where it came from. Animals not accepted. The Nash County shelter is unable to take surrendered pets. What people are being told if they try to drop off animals there.
And of course, we have rain across parts of the area. There's the potential for flooding from southwest to northeast Wake County as we have rain continuing to develop in the same place. I'll walk you through where you could see rain, especially later on this afternoon. Dual Doppler 5000 radar outlining here our flood advisory. This is where we've had rain developing in the same place over and over, and it's a possibility that we would see some flooding here. So just keep that in mind. And that's going to be stretching from east of Pittsburgh up toward Wake Forest. And honestly, we continue to see some heavy rain even north of that. But our flood advisory lasts until about 10 o'clock this morning. You can see that rain continuing to develop in the same place again from east of Pittsburgh, just north of Raleigh, and then it continues north up toward I-85. That will eventually dissipate, and then another band of rain will move through later on this afternoon. 80% chance. That's going to be our best chance of rain. It's really going to pick up in intensity, especially between 3 and 5 o'clock, and that will move all the way through the viewing area into our eastern counties. Coming up, I'll show you how much rain we've seen so far and the places that we're concerned about flooding later today.
Elizabeth, we're getting reports of an overturned vehicle on I-40, the Highway 70 there in Garner. We're also getting reports of right lanes being blocked on the Durham Freeway southbound between 15501 and Hillendale Road. We keep an eye on that because of Florida waters. We'll keep an eye on that and let you know how it's going to continue to affect your morning commute. We also want to check in with Ali Cadlebar and Michael Joyner in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. How are you guys right now on Glenwood Avenue?
Yes, and we are actually on our way to that overturned vehicle in Garner. And so we are on Glenwood Avenue right here. And we have seen some water covering the roads, especially those low points. So be cautious of that. And we've seen some minor flooding. And it is lightly raining right now, but we are seeing people drive a little bit slower and some ponding on the road. So we are, again, on our way to that overturned vehicle on I-40 and Highway 70 in Garner, and so we're going to keep you guys updated on that, Ken.
All right, Adley Cadlebar reporting the other troubled spot, I-40 eastbound in Davis Drive in Durham. You can see a jackknife semi-truck off to the side of the road and the huge backups that it's causing there in I-40 eastbound. If you're coming in from Chapel Hill, boy, you're looking at a huge delay. You're looking at a 53-minute delay coming in from Chapel Hill. I would recommend getting to 15501 and maybe over to Highway 70 as an alternate route at this point.
All right, thank you, Ken. Raw milk is being blamed for nearly 24 people getting sick in Florida, and at least 7 people were hospitalized. Florida health leaders would not name the producer of the milk, but they did confirm it all came from the same farm. The health and safety of raw milk has been a heated debate across the country. In North Carolina, state lawmakers considered banning the retail sale of raw milk, but that legislation was put on hold. The Nash County Animal Shelter is making strides in getting fully back up and running. It failed inspection and was forced to close. A spokesperson for the county says they have hired 2 additional animal control officers and 1 office assistant since the closure. That leaves only 1 position to fill before the facility is fully staffed. They've also updated their policies to ensure better documentation. They still can't accept owner surrenders, though. Neighboring counties say that could lead to more pets being dumped, but they can't take them either.
Most agencies don't take animals from other counties simply because we don't have the space for them. We struggle day to day just to handle our own citizens in our own counties.
Nash County leaders say the hope is the shelter is able to accept animals surrendered starting late next week. The search for the man accused of killing 4 people at a bar in Montana, it is intensifying. Police say Michael Brown is avoiding capture after the shooting last Friday. Montana's governor even approved more money being dedicated just to search for him. Nearly 40 agencies are involved in the manhunt of Brown. The battle over redistricting in Texas is escalating. Governor Greg Abbott there is trying to remove the House Democratic Caucus chair from office. Abbott wants the Supreme Court in Texas to remove State Representative Gene Wu from his position. Abbott accuses him of abandoning his office and violating the state constitution. Several Texas Democrats left the state in order to delay a Republican effort to redraw district maps, and the court has been asked to rule on that case at least by tomorrow. The federal government is pulling funding for vaccine development using mRNA technology, and that's the technology used to develop vaccines during the COVID-19 pandemic. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said the government will pivot from mRNA and it'll instead fund other vaccine platforms. Kennedy says the technology is not effective against respiratory infection like COVID and the flu, but that's despite evidence to the contrary. It was a year ago today that North Carolina started feeling the effects of Hurricane Debbie. And meteorologist Chris Michaels is here to talk more about this. Chris, explain the key factor that made Debbie just so destructive in our part of the state.
It has to do with where we were in relation to the storm center. We were in that northeast quadrant. I'll explain what that means here in just a second. But you see that path as it started last year near Cuba, and then it remained tropical all the way through upstate New York. And that includes here in North Carolina, where it just dumped a lot of rain over the course of a few days. And it started on the 6th, about 4 to 8 inches of rain in our area, and down toward the coast, 8 to 12 inches is what they wound up seeing. For us, the tornado threat was also big. I think a lot of you guys remember the EF3 that was in Lucama there in Wilson County, but there were 6 others in our area, 9 others in the state of North Carolina. But here's that northeast quadrant. Where we were is where all the air was rising, all the moisture was coming in, and all the spin was too. Now that was with Debbie, and the worst of it was actually on the 8th of August. We're tracking some tropical moisture, but not from a named storm. That's what's adding to the flood watch that parts of the area have today. Elizabeth will explain coming up in just a minute.
A wildfire in Washington state has grown to around 5,000 acres. I'm talking about the Bear Gulch fire. It's burning just west of Seattle, and rain is expected to help slow that fire down, but it won't stop it. Investigators are still looking into what started the fire. They believe it was caused by humans, though. 30 homes have since been evacuated in that area. And dozens of North Carolina firefighters are actually helping fight wildfires out west. What you're seeing now are photos from a member of a crew from Madison County. They're part of the crews that are fighting the fire in Washington state, and more than 45 North Carolina Forest Service employees are heading to western states as part of the response efforts. The Charlotte area was hit with heavy rain and flooding. And we know that officers responded to water rescue calls throughout the day yesterday. In fact, one Charlotte officer even had to chase a car down the road. They were trying to get the attention of someone who was trying to drive through floodwaters. Police say that driver then went between a tow truck and a police car into the flooded road, and the car was able to get out to safety. It's during these kind of situations, you definitely want to make sure you're careful on the road, Elizabeth. That's why we're trying to see if some of these crashes that we have been seeing here locally, if they're weather related, because reasonably the rain comes down and people can slip.
Exactly. And that's all the rain that they saw yesterday in Charlotte is the rain that we're seeing today. And so it was, we were fairly concerned this morning when we had the warning that was issued for Orange County and Durham County. Right now, we don't have any flash flood warnings in effect, but we do have a few advisories, some areas where we're seeing the rain sort of developing the same place over and over again. And that's going to be Wake County from Jordan Lake all the way up almost to Lewisburg. We're ending up with the rain just redeveloping in the same place. So that's an area that you just want to be conscious that we could start to see some water on the roads. We started to think about Chantal when we had that warning that was in effect for parts of Durham and Orange counties, but it was a lot more rain during Chantal, 8 to 12 inches in Orange County and 4 to 8 inches in Durham. Now, we've seen 2.5 inches in Orange and Durham counties, and we could potentially, with our second round of rain later on this afternoon, get up to 4 inches. So that's an area that we're going to be watching very closely. Also, there around Oxford, we've seen 2 3/4 of an inch in northern Durham counties, 2.6, 3 inches down here near Jordan Lake. So definitely some pockets where if we see another couple of inches, flooding will look more likely. And it does look like we're going to see some pretty heavy rain again this afternoon. Right now, we're seeing that band of rain just sort of redeveloping there in the northern part of Wake County, starting to move actually toward Nash County and up toward Roanoke Rapids as well. So we're going to see this continuing for a bit, and then another round comes in later today. So we do have a medium risk for flooding. For Thursday and Friday, it's a low risk, but we're still looking at enough rain that some flooding is possible. You can see the rain in our northern counties for now. But once we get to 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, look at this very heavy rain that comes pushing across our area, and that's going to be concerning for us. Just make sure you're watching us here on WRAL. We're going to be letting you know, of course, in real time what's happening so that you can stay safe. 40% chance on Thursday, 30 Friday, 30 Saturday. We're watching the potential for some tropical development. Dexter's moving on out. We're not going to have to worry about Dexter much longer. But this system out in the Atlantic, a 60% chance of developing, likely to recurve into the Atlantic, and the area of 40% chance of development off the coast of North Carolina. Looks like like it's going to stay fairly far offshore. But we'll still have that chance of some showers and storms through the weekend. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Real busy morning. We're getting reports of a crash on I-40 there in Clayton near Highway 36. That's exit 312. We're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. We'll let you know how it's going to affect your morning commute. The other troubled spot is this crash right here on I-40 eastbound, right near Davis Drive there in Durham. You can see the huge backups that it's causing right there. As a result of the tractor trailer that jackknifed and it sent that vehicle all the way into the grassy area. But you can see the huge delays it's causing there on I-40 eastbound right now. It's a situation where if you're coming in from Chapel Hill, you're looking at a 51-minute delay. You're coming in from Hillsborough, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. I want to go out and get this live look now because we've been seeing a lot of situations on Highway I-87 coming in from Nightdale. At one point, it was a busy roadway. You were looking at a double-digit delays. But right now, we're just looking at a 5-minute delay, courtesy of Charles Bradley. But you can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic. We can't stress enough. Leave the house a little sooner than usual just to be on the safe side.
101.5 HD3. Take us with you on the go as well. Thanks, Ken. New but unclean. 5 on your side explains what could be lurking on that new outfit you just bought. And if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or you even record some video or take pictures of severe weather where you are, please report it to us by going to WRAL.com/report it.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Your time right now is 8:26. I'm Chris Levingood. It is a WRAL weather alert day, and meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is tracking that situation right now, including the risk for flooding.
That's right. So we did have a flash flood warning that was in effect for Orange County and Durham County earlier. This is a flood advisory. That's maybe a level down. We're just seeing a lot of rain redeveloping in the same place there in the northern part of Wake County. So some flooding is possible. Nothing is being reported right now. We're going to see this first band moving through and a second band developing and moving through this afternoon. Notice how it goes up to 80% mid to late afternoon. And of course, we could end up with some flooding at that point.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Here's what we're looking at. That's the I-40 eastbound at Davis Drive. There's a semi-truck that jackknifed and hit it over to the grassy area. You can see the huge delays it's causing all the way back to actually past Highway 55 there in the Durham area. So you're coming in from Chapel Hill, boy, you're looking at a 52-minute delay. So I would recommend 15-501, get over to 70 as an alternate route just to avoid what's going on there on I-40 eastbound. Similarly, coming into the capital city, really the troubled spot is Highway 1, Capitol Boulevard, coming in from Wake Forest. You're looking at a 10-minute delay.
And all lanes of I-440 are back open at the Wake Forest Road exit after a crash closed them this morning. Police say that a man was seriously injured there after a car hit them, and the closure lasted a few hours. Next on Fox 50, a Durham woman's message to parents after her 4-year-old son accidentally shot and killed himself. We're also following the road situation as we are in a WRAL weather alert day. Some roads are very wet out there, folks, and we're trying to confirm if the weather has anything to do with some of the crashes we've been reporting about this morning.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day for the potential for flooding. We have a lot of heavy rain across the area right now with another round to come later this afternoon. I'll walk you through it.
And because of all this wet weather, we have the WRAL Storm Tracker out on the roads this morning. Right now, they're navigating Durham County. We'll check in with Kelsey Coffey to let you know exactly what you can expect as you head out the door.
Also, a man hit by a vehicle on the Beltline and seriously injured. We have an update on what traffic looks like right now.
A lot of stories that we're covering this morning on WRAL News, from crashes as well as the weather situation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Levingood. We want to go ahead and swing over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner because it's that flood risk. That's really what people should pay attention to today.
Exactly. So we're going to start off with a look at our flood advisory, which is in effect until 10 o'clock for parts of Wake County. This is where we have rain continuing to develop in the same area. No reports of flooding there, but because of this pattern, it is a possibility. And so the advisory just lets you know that's an area you need to watch out for. Let's back it up, and you can can see where we have the rain, it is lifting to the north and east, but again, kind of redeveloping in the same part of North Raleigh and northern Wake County. That will move on out, and then eventually we're going to see another round of rain that develops a little closer to lunchtime. We'll push it ahead, pause it there at about 12:30 as we get into the afternoon. Watch how we have those pockets of rain developing. It could be especially heavy in our eastern counties later on this afternoon. That's a brand new run of the computer model, and that line's a little bit more broken, and that's certainly good news. Maybe that means a little less rain, but we'll still go with that risk for flash flooding, especially as we get through the afternoon with that second band. That's going to be in effect for most of central North Carolina. I'll show you how much rain we've seen so far in places that it's heaviest, is where we would expect to see that chance for flooding. Ken?
8:31, Elizabeth. Let's get right to the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Kelsey Coffey, photographer Mark Alexi, they've been all over the triangle. Right now, you're in Durham County. So, Kelsey, what are you seeing?
Hey, Ken, right now we are on 147 southbound here. We'll go ahead and give you a live look now at road conditions, or rather we're on northbound. But there are some concerns on the southbound side. The right lanes are blocked on 147 southbound between 15501 and Highlandale Road. We did just pass that, and it's not too much to be concerned about as far as your morning commute. We didn't see any backups there. We did have a viewer send us some video that hopefully we'll be able to show you here in the next half hour. But as far as your morning drive, wet roads across our viewing area. We haven't had any reports of flooding, which is good news, but we are definitely noticing some ponding that's on the side of the road. So just be careful and watch out for those low-lying areas. But Ken, what can you tell folks before they head out for their morning commute?
Yeah, listen, leave the house a little sooner than usual because it's been a rather busy morning out on the roadways because of this crash right here on I-40 eastbound near Davis Drive there in Durham. You see the huge backup it's causing all the way past Highway 55. And this is what we're talking about here. A semi jackknifed over onto the shoulder of the road and into that grassy area. And you can see the huge delays it's causing there on Davis Drive. We've got some brand new video into our newsroom as a result of what you're seeing right now. You can see the backside of that semi truck that jackknifed, and you can see exactly what's going on there with the first responders trying to work that scene. Kelsey just mentioned this a little bit ago, that flooding that we talked about there on Hillendale Drive between 15501 and Highway 147 South. Well, a viewer was kind enough to send us this video, and you can see right now when Kelsey drove by, the water had dissipated, but you can see what was happening there just about in the last hour or so. So again, if you're in a situation where it's safe to take some video of any of the issues that we've been reporting on, please send it to Report It. Now, getting back to that Durham situation, if you're coming in from Chapel Hill right now, you're looking at a 51-minute delay. So I would recommend maybe 15501 over to Highway 70 and coming into the capital city if you want to avoid what's happening on I-40 eastbound. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
And remember, you can get up-to-the-minute information with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It's free to download and to use. Turn on push notifications so you get important weather alerts sent right to your phone.
And right back here in the WRAL Live Center with an update to a story we've been following all morning long. Early this morning, police were called. Raleigh police showed up at this scene on I-440 eastbound right near the Wake Forest Road exit because a man had been hit by a vehicle there. He is seriously injured, life-threatening condition right now. But we do have some video I want to show you. It's a little later this morning. It shows you that the scene has cleared now. That is the update. Traffic is moving along, so the investigation has cleared that area right now, and traffic is moving along at a normal pace for that area right in the heart of rush hour. We're still waiting to get exactly what happened and why that man was on the belt line when he was hit.
Definitely a lot of questions that we have for that. Thank you, Jeff. We're also following this breaking story. A Person County ambulance was involved in a crash this morning in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at that scene on Horton and Duke Streets, where Durham police say the ambulance was driving down Duke Street with its lights on. Well, another car went through a green light in front of the ambulance, and we are working to learn if there are any injuries and if charges will be filed. Power's back on for hundreds of homes in Durham after an outage this morning. I want to show you video of teams working on Roxborough Street to restore it. Duke Energy reported that outage of more than 600 customers around 3 this morning. The utility's outage map listed the cause as fallen tree limbs. The power was restored just after 5 a.m., so there's improvement. A woman will be in court today because police say the boat she owned was in a crash that killed a 10-year-old. Anne-Marie Flanagan and her boyfriend, Quentin Kite, are both facing charges. Brooklyn Carroll died over the weekend after the boat hit her while she was in the lake. Now, Jennifer Staley was also hurt and is in critical condition. Investigators say they recovered roughly 40 beer cans from the boat, and Kite, the boat's driver, is expected back in court later this month. Flanagan's first appearance is set for 2 p.m. And the mother of a 4-year-old girl in Durham will be in court for an involuntary manslaughter charge. We know that her son died in an accidental shooting, and that shooting happened back in June inside a home on North Briggs Avenue. 4-year-old Kamari Patterson died, and WRAL asked Kamari's mother, Tiara MacArthur, about that night and why she had the weapon in the first place. Well, she says she had a gun for her protection and put it in a drawer at a family member's house. That's where her son found it.
When he stood in front of the drawer, he wasn't even in front of the TV for a minute or two. And we heard the gunshot.
MacArthur turned herself in and is out on a $5,000 bond. She says she will never own another gun and encourages other parents to get rid of theirs. In fact, WRAL has been digging into similar accidental shootings this year, and in those cases, the charges were less severe. In May, a 2-year-old boy was injured after accessing an unsecured gun that belonged to his uncle, and the uncle was charged with failing to store a firearm to protect minors. That same month, a mother and father faced a similar charge in the accidental shooting death of their child. Unsecured weapons in homes, it is the subject of a WRAL documentary. You can watch Unsafe North Carolina Kids Dying from Gun Violence right now on WRAL.com. Durham Public Schools is hosting a job fair today, and currently the district has 160 teacher openings and 14 bus driver jobs available. The school system is in critical need of exceptional teachers, substitute teachers, and bus drivers. Today's job fair will be at Hillside High School in Fayetteville Street, and that starts at 4:30 in the afternoon and ends at 6. Anyone interested in applying for a position can visit the district's website. Today, Governor Josh Stein will highlight the state's efforts to support military families. In fact, he'll join the nonprofit Blue Star Families in Fayetteville for this. A bill that governor actually signed last month is meant to help military families transition to living in North Carolina as new residents. The support includes help with their driver's licenses and enrolling kids in schools. The State Board of Elections will have to meet to decide how to handle early voting in Cumberland County. County election officials failed to reach agreement on early voting plans for November. The state must step in and decide where and when people can go to vote in local races. The new GOP majority in Cumberland County considered cutting early voting availability at Cliffdale Recreation Center, and that's a historically black part of Fayetteville. That brought community activists like Demetria Murphy to yesterday's meeting.
I got a text message at like 5:30 this morning, right, that they wanted to remove Cliffdale from the early voting site. And I'm like, that's insane.
Republican board members said having one extra early voting site for Cumberland County at that location gave Democratic politicians an unfair advantage. Your time is 8:39. Wash before wearing. Live on your site's Keely Arthur explains why you should clean your clothes before showing off that fresh new fit. And rebuilding I-40, the next steps to get the interstate fixed in western North Carolina after devastation from Helene. And just a reminder, folks, it is a WRAL weather alert day. That is why we have the storm tracker out right now, inspecting the roads to see how conditions are. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner shows the newest timeline for the areas that are at most at risk.
8:43, new update from the National Weather Service. Let's go back to weather if we could here. And you can see this new outline in our northern counties. This is a new flood advisory that expires at 11:45. And a flood advisory means that this is an area where we've seen some very heavy rain falling, no flooding happening yet, but an area that we're watching for it. And of course, that stretches all the way down through Wake County. This one expires at 10 o'clock. So those are areas we're watching very closely. We've seen the rain falling for multiple hours. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll show you how much rain we've seen across our Center area. That gives us an idea of areas that we're really going to be watching later this afternoon when we have a second round. It goes to 70% just after lunchtime and 80% later in the afternoon. And Futurecast will show you coming up in just a few minutes.
Elizabeth, you can see how busy it's been for first responders because of all the incidents that you're seeing right now on our live traffic map. We also want to get to the WRAL breaking news tracker. Ali Cadlabar and Michael Jordan just coming upon a crash on I-40 eastbound near Hammond Road. Ali, what can you tell us at this point?
Yes, Ken, this just happened in the past 10 minutes. We've seen first responders head to the scene. I'm going to get right to it now. They did just block this stretch right here, but we did see two vehicles, a car and an SUV. One SUV was hitting the guardrail here, and the other car had damage to the front bumper. So we did see EMS pull up. We have fire on the scene as well as police officers. So we are seeing some delays here. This is I-40 eastbound, and so we're going to keep you guys updated, Ken.
Excellent. We've got some other news to report in terms of that I-40 eastbound near Davis Drive crash. A semi jackknifed over into the grassy area. You can see it's beginning to clear up just a bit, but you can still see the huge delays that it's causing there on I-40 eastbound. So if you're coming in from Chapel Hill, you're coming in from Durham this morning, you're looking at still a 52-minute delay. So keep that in mind. You're about to head out. I would recommend Highway 70 as an alternate route.
In just the last 30 minutes, several hundred power outages in Raleigh got back online. But just like that, several hundred more popped up in a different area. I'm going to show you right here now because there are three separate areas that are showing several power outages. I'm taking to the new one here because this is right between Rock Quarry Road and Sunnybrook Road. It stretches over part of Pool Road as well right there. There's 900 in that area, as you can see. Now, as we move over to this area where there are 200, as you see right here, that is just west of the belt line there, I-440. But this is a problem still right off of Glenwood Avenue. As you see right here, the Summerwood townhomes in that area. They are not projected to be back on until 10 a.m. right now, still without a cause for that power outage.
Police in Durham are trying to find a woman who they say ran from officers after a chase. Officers responded to Crown Parkway just after 9 last night, and they were trying to find a car connected with a felony domestic violence report. Well, they stopped the car and gave a woman inside commands to get out, but they say she put the car in drive and sped off and nearly hit an officer in the process. Police say the chase ended after that car crashed into another vehicle, but the woman ran off, and police say they have not been able to find her. If you're starting back to school clothes shopping, make sure you wash everything you buy before you let your kids wear them. 5 on your sides, Keely Arthur explains why.
We all get that urge to put on a new outfit right away, but it might be a good idea to throw it in the wash first. That's because new clothes can carry chemicals, dust, and even bugs. The chemicals come from the manufacturing and finishing process and can cause skin irritation, especially for babies. And a lot of clothes we buy are made overseas and pass through a very long supply chain. Once they arrive at the store, they're handled, unpacked, and often tried on.
So you're not just wearing a new outfit, you're wearing everything it picked up along the way.
Because brightly colored garments can bleed or fade during the wash, Consumer Reports recommends washing them in cold or cool water on a gentle cycle. And just go ahead and skip the fabric softener. That's because it can leave a chemical residue on your clothing. It can also leave a residue inside your washing machine, encouraging mold growth and make your bedding and clothing eventually more flammable. We don't want any of that. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Definitely don't want that. Teams are moving into the next phase of rebuilding I-40 near the Tennessee border. The DOT was approved to build a temporary bridge to help bring in rock for reconstruction. It'll come from specific areas in the Pisgah National Forest. And a section of the interstate washed away when Helene hit in September. I-40 was closed at the state line until partially being reopened in March. And teams will also start working on the base of a temporary bridge across the Pigeon River in the coming days. Once teams are able to get there, they will start that rock removal process. VMA nominations and an all-star cast for George Clooney's new movie on Netflix. Time for a look at what's trending. Lady Gaga is leading the pack in nominations for this year's MTV Video Music Awards, and she racked up 12 nominations, including Artist of the Year and Best Album. Bruno Mars and Kendrick Lamar could be gearing up for a big night. They picked up 11 and 10 nominations, respectively. And George Clooney is taking on the role of an actor in his newest movie. Yes, the actor becoming an actor. Clooney will be playing a fictional actor named Jay Kelly in the movie of the same name. He'll have some big stars alongside him, including Laura Dern and Adam Sandler. That movie is due out in November on Netflix. Previews of 2 upcoming films starring Oscar-winning actors and the top nominees for this year's Video Music Awards. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
What do you say to people who say you only play yourself?
I think what you do is magic.
You know how difficult it is to be yourself? You try it.
World-famous actor George Clooney plays a world-famous actor in Jay Kelly. The first teaser trailer is out for the film, directed by Noah Baumbach and co-starring Adam Sandler and Laura Dern. Jay Kelly opens in select theaters November 14th and streams on Netflix December 5th.
Lost in the words that we speak.
Lady Gaga leads the nominees for the MTV Video Music Awards. She's up for 12 trophies, including Video of the Year, Song of the Year, and 2 other honors for Die With a Smile, her Grammy-winning duet with Bruno Mars. He's up for 11 trophies in all. The 2025 VMAs are September 7th in New York.
We play roles in the clients' lives. Parents, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, and help them connect to what's missing.
I'm just an actor. I don't know how to help people.
What I'm offering here is a chance to play roles with real meaning.
Brendan Fraser is a struggling actor in Tokyo who lands an unusual gig in Rental Family. The roles he takes on and the bonds he forms make him ponder the difference, if any, between acting and connecting. Rental Family opens in theaters November 21st. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day, and we want to focus on the weather maker that we're currently in before talking about the next one. Elizabeth, we're talking about the risk of flooding.
We've had a good bit of rain already today. I'm going to show you how much. We've seen pockets from anywhere from a trace all the way up to almost 3 inches. As a matter of fact, some of that over here in right near Jordan Lake, and we continue to see rain there. So we're looking at these green shaded areas. This is where we have a flood advisory, and that means that flooding isn't happening, but we're seeing so much rain falling in those areas over and over that flooding could happen. So that's why the advisories are in effect. This one here in Wake County expires at 10, and then the one that's to our north doesn't expire till 11:45. So those are areas, just pockets that we're watching where flooding is more likely than other spots. Notice down to the south, we haven't had as much rain, but we're definitely seeing this rain moving very slowly from the Triangle area gradually eastward. We'll see more rain that develops over the area later this afternoon. Here's a look at some of that rainfall. Again, a little over 3 inches there near Jordan Lake, around Durham, about 2.6 inches, near Oxford, almost 3 inches. So definitely some pockets where that rainfall is heavy. So if we do see more rain this afternoon in those places, those obviously would be the first to start to flood. Our flooding risk is medium for the entire viewing area. We also have a flood watch. It's a lot of things, just a lot of ways to tell you that flooding is something we could see later on today. Here's a look at futurecast, and we'll continue to see some showers in our northern counties for the next few hours. And then once we get to and past lunchtime, it begins to pop up almost everywhere. And some of our eastern and southern counties that haven't seen much rain yet, we'll see some. But again, it's the pockets where we've already seen the heavy rain that we'll be most concerned about. The heaviest rain there at 5 o'clock could end up being in our eastern counties, but it's still likely to be something that causes issues for the evening commute. We've had a lot of issues on the roads this morning with the rain. We could repeat that again this evening. Our flood risk for Thursday is low, and it's low again on Friday. We just continue this pattern where we could see some pockets of heavy rain. Today looks like it would be heavier, but again, we don't rule it out again for the next several days. Expect afternoon and evening storms, mainly east of Raleigh. That's where we'll be focusing later on this evening for that potential for flooding. We've had some showers, of course, through downtown Raleigh. It looks like the rain has stopped. Nobody walking around with their umbrella. It's cool at 68, and it stays cool today. This afternoon's high in Raleigh, 74, 71 in Durham, and 80 degrees in Fayetteville. We check out our forecast going forward. We still have the potential for scattered rain and thunderstorms at least through Saturday. We're going to be watching for a small chance for a coastal low to develop, but right now it looks like it should stay fairly well offshore.
And we do want to get you a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers, and we'll have a check on traffic coming up in just a bit.